The sun rose slowly over Ouagadougou, spilling molten gold across the flat roofs and narrow streets. The city stirred to life, market stalls opening, motorcycles buzzing like angry wasps, and the scent of fried dough drifting on the air. Yet beneath the ordinary rhythm of dawn, the capital of Burkina Faso held its breath. For months, rumors had rippled across the nation, rumors of plots, betrayals, and enemies lurking in the shadows. President Ibrahim Traore knew this better than anyone. Sitting in the wide-windowed office of the presidential palace, he leaned forward over a map of the country spread across his desk. His face, calm and youthful, bore the sharp focus of a man who carried a burden too heavy for his years. His nation had bled from militant attacks, from whispers of foreign interference, and from betrayal within. But here he was, still standing, still defiant. He had sworn to protect Burkina Faso, to drag it out of the claws of fear and dependency. That oath had earned him enemies, many enemies. The heavy doors creaked, and a shadow fell across the map. "Excellency," a voice said, firm but respectful. It was Captain Mariam Koulibaly, leader of his personal security unit. She was tall, muscular, and carried herself with a predator's ease. Her dark eyes scanned the room quickly before resting on him. "They are waiting," she said. Traore nodded. He rolled up the map and stood. "And are we ready, Mariam?" "We are always ready." Her lips curved into the faintest trace of a smile. Behind her, 3 other women entered silently, their boots clicking against the polished floor. They were part of what the streets had begun to call Les Lions Noirs, the Black, Lionesses, female bodyguards, handpicked by Traore himself, trained in both modern warfare and the brutal instincts of the savannah and jungle. Rumors painted them as almost mythical. Women who wrestled wild animals during training, who marched for days without water, who could dismantle rifles blindfolded. They wore civilian clothes now, but there was no mistaking the rigid posture of warriors. Each carried a concealed sidearm, knives tucked into their boots, and the kind of hard, unyielding stare that made lesser men look away. "Then let us meet them," Traore said, and together they walked toward the briefing chamber. Inside, the air was heavy with tension. Generals, ministers, and intelligence chiefs rose as Traore entered. At his side, the lionesses fanned out, taking positions near the doors, their hands brushing the concealed grips of their weapons. Every official in the room knew better than to mistake them for decoration. The Minister of Defense cleared his throat. "Excellency, we have credible reports of increased militant activity along the northern border. Satellite images confirm movement, convoys, weapons. Their numbers are swelling." "Who leads them?" Traore asked. The general shifted uncomfortably. A man called Malik the Viper, former mercenary. Now, he calls himself Emir. Mariam's jaw tightened at the name. She had heard of Malik, ruthless, clever, and with a hatred for Traore that burned like a fever. The minister continued, "Our intelligence suggests he is planning a major strike, perhaps here in the capital." A ripple of unease moved through the room. An attack on Ouagadougou was unthinkable. Yet the silence that followed meant everyone knew it was possible. Traore's voice was calm. "Then let him come." Heads turned sharply. "We will not cower," Traore said, his gaze sweeping the room. "If the militants think they can frighten us into submission, they are mistaken. This land belongs to its people, and I will not bow to warlords or to their foreign masters." His words carried steel, but inside, he felt the familiar weight pressing against his chest. Every decision was a gamble with lives. After the meeting, Mariam walked with him back to his office. "Excellency," she said quietly, "you speak with courage, but the Viper is not a man to underestimate. If he strikes, he will strike with everything." "I know," Traore said. He paused, looking out the tall window that overlooked the city. "Tell me, Mariam, do you believe we are ready?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she glanced at her fellow lionesses waiting in the corridor. Awa, the sharpshooter with eyes like a hawk. Fatou, the close combat specialist whose hands were as deadly as her blades. And Salimata, the tactician who could read a battlefield like an open book. Each woman had bled for this country in silence, shadows guarding the flame of its future. "Yes," Mariam said finally, "because we are not afraid to die for you." Traore turned sharply. No, he said. Not for me. For Burkina Faso. Promise me, Mariam, if the day comes, you will fight for the soil beneath your feet, for the children who deserve to live free. Not for me. Mariam held his gaze for a long time before nodding. As you wish, Excellency. That night, as the city lights glittered against the dark sky, a different kind of meeting was taking place far from the palace. In an abandoned warehouse on the edge of Ouagadougou, men gathered around crates of weapons. Their leader, Malik the Viper, stood in the shadows. His face was scarred, his smile a thin, venomous slash. Tomorrow, he said softly, his voice carrying across the room like smoke, we strike. The president believes his women can protect him. Let us show him the truth. Let us break his lionesses and carve fear into the heart of his people. The men cheered, their rifles slamming against the concrete floor. And so the storm gathered, silent and unseen, waiting to break. In the palace, Ibrahim Traore stood by his window, the lionesses patrolling the corridors below. He could not shake the feeling that danger crept closer with every heartbeat. But he also knew this. When the shadows finally came for him, they would not find him alone. For standing between him and the grave were the fiercest guardians his enemies had never expected, women of fire and steel, sworn to fight until their last breath.